What's going on? We're back for another episode of the Shonee Jackson Show. I believe this is episode 13 off the top of my head. Like and subscribe. Make sure to follow me on all the socials, especially Twitter and TikTok. Been very active on those two, and Instagram as well. That's only going to pick up. But let's shoot the shit. Let's talk about the NFC East today a little bit. Obviously, going to start off with the defending champs, the Dallas Cowboys. They made some news, made a trade, and signed Lawson yesterday, starting to fill out some of those defensive line needs, depth needs going into the season. Seems like Ducks are starting to get into a roll. Is CeeDee Lamb next, and how much longer does that take? Sooner rather than later, we'd all assume. Hopefully before Monday. Hopefully before, obviously, you start game planning for the Cleveland Browns in Week 1, which I imagine that will get done before then. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Cowboys standouts in camps, offensive linemen, rookies, the Washington Commanders, the Commies, who I believe and why I believe they are the Dallas Cowboys' competition and biggest threat in defending the NFC East Championship and the biggest threat to stopping the Dallas Cowboys from being the first back-to-back NFC East champion since Philly did it back in 2004. You're going to talk a little bit about Philly. Jalen Hurts, some stuff that came out about him recently, teammates' comments on Jalen Hurts, things that you're hearing about Philly, what I take from it, and what I anticipate Philly to become this year, right? A little bit of that, and then we're going to end on some off-topic stuff, non-football things. Canelo Alvarez, going to talk a little bit about his recent clips, press conference clips that have come out this past week. Canelo has been hilarious. His English is improving, and just the state of boxing in regards to him and some of the top stars, who could be next if Canelo does what I think he's going to do. So let's get right to it at the top. Dallas Cowboys made a trade yesterday for Jordan Davidson. A massive need was filled. Jordan Phillips, Jordan Phillips fills a massive need for the Cowboys in the interior defensive line. I talked about it on the last Pro episode, Mozzie Smith. I said we're a good Mozzie Smith away from truly competing and maybe winning a Super Bowl. But we needed that depth. You lose Jonathan Hankins a year ago. We don't really have that massive 6'6", 340-plus pound guy that Jordan Phillips is to eat up blocks, keep linebackers clean, and rotate in and out with Mozzie Smith as Mozzie continues to develop, and you assume he is obviously the starting one technique by the way the team's been operating. Maybe Jordan Phillips passes him up and he starts and Mozzie backs him up for a year. But if Mozzie continues to improve every single day, every practice, every game, the way he has shown that he's doing so far, we're going to be okay with Mozzie Smith. I don't know if Mozzie ever becomes an all-pro nose, but there's really not a lot of elite nose guards in the world today. Humans that are this large that can move functionally and give you a quality amount of snaps, stay healthy every week. There's not a lot of these guys going around, right? So Cowboys went out, filled the need. They're not as incompetent as we want them to think. Now, is this that big of a deal? This is kind of one of those things. It's like congratulating somebody on being a good dad. You're supposed to fill your needs. But at the same time, we can't just only bash them for not moving in free agency or not reacting to everything we want them to react to, and then not give credit where credit is due. Where you're a few weeks in camp, you see the bodies you got in that room, you do your evaluating, you decide, all right, let's get on the phone, let's see who we can go get within a reasonable price range that can fill a massive need, and we did that. 6'6", 342, 62 career starts, 24 career sacks, 36 TFLs, 51 QB hits. He was a second-round pick back in 2015 out of the University of Oklahoma. He had a good college career, very, very strong, good with his arms. He uses his length and his long go-go gadget arms very well to help him create leverage. He does a good job not getting moved. Eats up blocks, as I said, and is going to make it easier for our linebackers to run around, make plays, stuff to run, right? Here's a little clip of Jordan Davidson for you to look at. Jordan Phillips. I keep calling him Jordan Davidson. I'm sorry. Nice little spin move there. Sacking Matthew Stafford. This was last year. Good get off, good spin move, good technique, high motor with his big body, right? It's going to be a very important addition to the Cowboys. And then as well, yesterday we went ahead and signed Lawson, which I think was expected and anticipated ever since he worked out for the team. That's a classic situation. You bring in a guy. Sorry about that. You bring in a guy for a workout, you like what you see, but you go into training camp, you see if you're going to be able to replace that in any other way on your team. And what he really does, what Carl Lawson's going to provide for the Cowboys is, one, insurance for the rookie and Marcus Nealon. Right, if anything were to happen with Marcus Nealon, you got proven production in Carl Lawson, and that's going to allow you to really be flexible and use Micah Parsons as a chess piece, because now you can rotate again a guy in with Marcus Nealon, who's looked phenomenal in training camp and in his first preseason game. Looks like he may be even further ahead as a pass rusher than I thought he was coming out. I very much trust the player already as a guy that is going to be a good strong side defensive end in Mike Zimmer's system and stuff to run. But now, I think from what I've seen of him in camp so far, what you hear out of reports and other players is that, like Micah Parsons said yesterday in his press conference, Carl Lawson looks like a Cam Jordan 2.0, right? And Cam Jordan is multiple-time Pro Bowler, multiple-time top 100 list, has been one of the best defensive ends, strong side guys in the league for many years now, close to a decade, I would say, if not a full decade. That is a fantastic comp, right? I've been comparing him to more of a DeMarcus Lawrence type, saying he was DeMarcus Lawrence 2.0, that he is ultimately going to be the replacement of DeMarcus Lawrence over the next few years. As DeMarcus is getting older, he's probably on his last deal, and eventually Father Time will come calling with him, right? And so he provides insurance for your rookie, and also just a good signing. I think that the front office cooks with these types of signing. We can bash them for being cheap, and sure, they are cheap. They are trying to take a cheap route with filling out the needs of their roster as we're approaching the season. And quite frankly, that's what you have to do when you're about to commit, $500 million at the very least to three superstars in CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons. That is assuming they sign all three guys. We'll wait and see what they do on Dak Prescott. If they get into the season without an extension on Dak Prescott, they're not going to get an extension done with Dak Prescott till the end of the year. As far as I'm concerned, that's the way I see that headed, if that is the case, right? But still a very good possibility that he gets signed prior to the season starting. Olympics are over. Headlines can belong to the Cowboys. And also, this is just how this stuff works. One domino falls, the rest will follow. So is that going to happen? Are they getting their ducks in a row, the Cowboys, to go ahead and not only fill out these needs, which they went ahead and did yesterday, but now is CeeDee Lamb next? There's an article written on CBS yesterday by a man named Joel Corey, and this is what I would actually reference for anybody asking questions, and they really want to take an educated and logical approach about this CeeDee Lamb contract negotiation. I've made many videos. I got TikToks, and you can watch back on any of my podcasts. There's timestamps in the description to go and see what I think about this CeeDee Lamb situation, right? And yet, disregarding all of that, if you just kind of want to ask yourself, the negotiation sticking points, which is highlighted in this article, whatever the holdup is highlighted in this article, and ultimately a prediction on what's going to happen with CeeDee Lamb, which is what I'm going to read to you. I think that this is a fantastic article that highlights everything in a realistic manner and not a clickbait fashion, which is all you're going to see from ESPN, from any of the talking shows around the nation. And most of the stuff that you see on the socials is really just popularity clickbait bullshit, all right? CeeDee Lamb's going to be a Dallas Cowboy. There's sticking points in this, like price totals. What did Justin Jefferson get paid? What does CeeDee Lamb think his value is? CeeDee Lamb obviously thinks he is warranted to be paid more than Justin Jefferson, or maybe just right below $250,000 to $750,000 below what Justin Jefferson gets. You don't only need to compare his contract, but other recent contracts in superstars like Nick Bosa, what their guarantees were. He had a $170 million extension with $34 million per year. CeeDee's going to want between $34 to $37 million per year, probably 35 averaging. Or you can maybe go 34.75 million a year, and he could accept something like that. And then obviously the guarantees. The other sticking points, the Dallas Cowboys, obviously, where they have come into issues recently with Dak Prescott, now CeeDee Lamb, and maybe a few others in their extension talks, is the Cowboys love to get at least 5 years on these big-time deals for their superstars, right? That gives them insurance on that fifth year, gives them a little injury insurance as well as this contract goes on, because ultimately, I don't know the exact date, but the full guarantees don't kick in until after the second year of that deal, and you got a league date on that situation, usually sometimes in the spring, whereas if somebody gets injured, a la Trayvon Diggs, doesn't come back the same player, you have flexibility to get out of some of the guarantees of that contract, right? Obviously, the super agents of the world don't like that, and CeeDee Lamb wants a 4-year deal instead of a 5-year deal to give him more leverage as a player to, one, get back to the negotiation table a lot quicker and also avoid losing any guarantees in this contract. Right? That's me paraphrasing how this works to the best of my abilities. I'm not a capologist, if you will. So if you are, and there's shows that dive deeper into the cap, the contract, the nerdy stuff, that you can go watch. Obviously, I give more vibes, a fan perspective, a former player perspective, not at the pro level or even at the highest college level, but just a guy that has a lot of football experience, and I'm shooting the shit with you guys. This is vibes on the SJ show as much as it is everything. I don't fact check, never will, never have. This isn't a fact checking podcast, and yet I just talk from a logical perspective, the way I see it, the way I observe it, right? I think a lot of you observe it the same way. That's why I'm doing this. Follow if you do, subscribe if you do. And yet, he's probably looking around 35 per, something close to Justin Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb had 1,749 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns on 135 receptions as a Cowboy last year. That was the greatest season in franchise history. Somewhere in here, it's comparing him to Justin Jefferson as well. Justin Jefferson, has essentially started the first 4 years of his career to a better start than anybody in the history of the NFL. 392 receptions on 5,800 receiving yards, damn near 5,900 receiving yards, 99, with 30 touchdowns in 60 games played. Lamb had 395, 3 more receptions than JJ, 5,100 receiving yards, 32 touchdowns in 66 games. I, for one, actually, and it's no shot to Justin Jefferson, who is the first or second best receiver in the world. In my eyes, this is 1A, 1B. Pick your flavor. I love CeeDee. I love the volume that you can get the ball to CeeDee Lamb in the slot, outside, and out of the backfield. He's very, very flexible, can return kicks and punts as well. So can Justin Jefferson. He can do a lot of those things. I think CeeDee is naturally more of a flexible football player, not just position-wise, but physically. CeeDee's very, very durable, knock on wood. But since college, you don't really got to worry about CeeDee Lamb getting injured. When he does, tough guy, plays through it. Justin Jefferson obviously dealt with the injuries last year. CeeDee and his agent, Tory Dandy, have every right to demand the highest paid non-quarterback contract in the NFL today. He's that type of player. And the reality is the prediction that is highlighted in this man on CBS's article right here is that it's hard to imagine that the holdout will play into his rookie contract and into this season. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys have the ability, since it's a rookie deal, to waive his fines down the line, but that causes so many problems that if you let him hold out into the season, I don't know that damage can be repaired within the relationship. So what I would imagine is the Cowboys come to terms with the fact that 5-year deal sticking point isn't a sticking point with the top level receivers in the NFL. And you got one that is no doubt a top 2, at worst, top 3 receiver in this league. And it is viewed that way across the league. I think not only through talking heads like myself, but we don't really matter. Through other general managers, scouts across the league, they would say the same. So he's going to get that money somewhere, whether it's in Dallas or somewhere else. And if you drag him on and tarnish that relationship, that does nothing but hurt the locker room. He is a locker room guy. He's a leader on this football team, and he's one of the best receivers in the world. So I think when it comes down to it, we're inching up on the Dallas Cowboys, getting ready to game plan for week 1 against the Cleveland Browns and a very, very good defense where you need your all-pro wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. Your offensive linemen in training camp, which we are about to get to next, are absolutely showing out, looking like that's coming into form. Dak Prescott throughout the scrimmages, and he obviously didn't play in the preseason game, but he has looked in some of these highlights that you see in clips posted that he is kept very, very clean in the pocket and has plenty of time to find open receivers, and yet there have been times where receivers taking a while to get open. So get your all-pro, all-world receiver back in camp, back in the locker room, get the deal done before you start game planning for the Cleveland Browns. Get a sip of water, little shot of energy. We'll move forward. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this so far, please make sure you like, you subscribe, you follow me on the socials, and especially Twitter. That is where I am most active. Let me pull up my Twitter real quick for you. Follow me on Twitter at Shonee Jackson, and then on TikTok, it's the Shonee Jackson Show and Shonee Jackson on Instagram. I'm very active all day on Twitter. You'll get more of a glimpse on my personality, what I'm about, and then I'm talking sports, debating, engaging with all the talking heads all day long. Come engage with me if you like this, if you're a friend, if you're a family member, if you're somebody that's found me through my clips and through my YouTube pages. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow me on the socials. Let's move forward. Start with Tyler Guyton. Tyler Guyton and the Dallas Cowboys. I made a TikTok recently talking about this. It was actually on my last podcast, but cut it into a TikTok. The Cowboys don't miss on offensive linemen. They are the best in the NFL. There's no question about it on drafting offensive linemen. We just went from a first ballot Hall of Famer leaving the locker room, going to a different locker room, and Tyron Smith, the tank. You're missed. You always will be missed. I'm sorry we couldn't win a championship with you, you and many others, but you lose him, and we might have replaced him with a guy just like him. The next one, and Tyler Guyton, 6'8", athletic freak, but he also happens to be nasty and have the things that you really can't teach to a football player. Let me give you an example right here. He has absolutely whooped Jared Verse's ass out of Florida State. Another fellow rookie for the Los Angeles Rams has whooped his ass throughout the week and a half or so that we have practiced with the Rams. He whooped his ass in real life when they played against each other, and he's whooped his ass all week in practice on humiliating fashion. This is a good football player in Jared Verse. This is just Tyler Guyton, one of many pancakes, whether it's in one-on-ones, 11-on-11, or anything else. Him versus Jared Verse. This is one of many of them, and look at him get up and get Jared Verse's ear right after that. Let him know the business. Let him know what time it is right away. Jared Verse asks him to go again. He walks away. I already let you know what we're about. I don't need to go do another rep. We already had our rep. No need for another rep. I just busted your ass. I'm just gonna let you know about it. Just sunned you. You're my son. That's what he's saying to him right there. Something along those lines. This volume is out of control. Do a little volume here. Let's see if you can hear him. Here we go. Pan. He says, let's do another rep. We don't need to do another rep. How many reps have we done already? They don't need to do another rep. Just nastiness. Nasty left tackle. Now he's going with the starters. You know, injuries really forced him into that role, but he played his way into it. He's been the best left tackle. It's not even close in Cowboys training camp. And every single time he's been on the field, he's been the best left tackle on the field, regardless of who's blocking for the other team. Right? We've only played one other team, and yet Tyler Guyton is everything that we hoped he would be, and he's getting there way faster than a lot of people anticipated, which is why he slid in the first round. Right? And that's a lot of credit to the work he did in the offseason with Duke Manyweather. Follow Duke Manyweather if you don't. He's one of the best offensive line trainers on the planet Earth. He trains a lot of the Dallas Cowboys. He deserves a lot of the credit for us churning these guys out the way that we do. But now you plug in new franchise left tackle in place. Rookie. Going to keep that clean, and whoever plays after him for the next 10 to 15 years, knock on wood, barring disaster happens physically, right? Move inside. We drafted another offensive lineman. We've needed a center. Tyler Biadasz was an all right, serviceable center. He goes to the commies, our rival. Now we replace him, insert Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe is going to serve what we've been missing in the run game the last few years in the power at that center position. Cooper Beebe can crack down on a defensive tackle, shove his ass all the way to the end, and open these gaping holes for the Dallas Cowboys. We did not have that with Tyler. Tyler was a good pass blocker. He was a good, smart offensive lineman, but you know, his ceiling isn't what Cooper Beebe's is. Cooper Beebe could be an all-pro center. Cooper Beebe could be an all-pro guard in this league. I've watched him kick ass at Kansas State for 4 or 5 years, and I think he's going to kick ass in the NFL. He came in, had some snap issues, as any coach would do. You're going to be hard on him. You got to work that out, coach that out of him. Well, now he seems to have no snap issues. Like I said on the last show, you know how you fix snap issues? You snap the ball 1,000 times a day. Snap the ball all day long until you stop snapping it into the stands and 5 yards to the left of the quarterback, right? You start putting it in this number every single time over and over and over again. It becomes second nature. Here's a Cooper Beebe clip for you guys to watch. Look at that. Nasty. Nasty. There's a pass blocking example for you. This volume's loud. Right here in the middle. Big 6'6", big 6'6", standing his ass right up, shoving him around Dak Prescott, creating a clean pocket for Dak to step right into. This is what you want to see. This is how it's done. This is how it's done by the best pros in the league. Starter versus starter. 5'6", not big 6'6", sorry. Big 5'6", Cooper Beebe. Show you one more time. Big 5'6", Cooper Beebe. See if I can find you a run blocking example. Check this out. There he is, the center position. Just nasty. Just nasty. Tossing guys to the side like it ain't shit. Like a little children. 300-plus pound grown NFL football player. Get down. Get to the ground. And then the nastiness after the fact. This is what a nasty interior offensive lineman looks like. And listen, I'm not an offensive line expert. I'm not a line of scrimmage expert. Clearly, you can look at me in my frame. I didn't play along the line of scrimmage. I was a defensive back. The majority of my football knowledge and my strength, what I know the most is always going to be defensive back play, what I played, of course. But I've watched plenty of offensive line play, and this is what good looks like right here. That is strength on another level. Tyler Biadasz did not have this type of punch. That's a punch that we haven't had since Travis Frederick left, and it might be stronger than that. I mean, that is just absolute punching him to the ground, and then he gets right on top of him and shoves his face into the dirt. Shove his face in the dirt, get nasty, let him know what time it is. Let him know we ain't here to play games. Not here to play games, not here to be Mr. Nice Guy. Cooper Beebe has to start. Has to start. I like Brock Hoffman, nice guy, good podcast. I've said it many times, I'll say it many times more. Cooper Beebe is on another level of a football player, and Cooper Beebe is going to be what allows Rico Dowdle and whoever else is playing running back the holes, and is going to be the engine to this running game, along with the two all-pro guards next to him, right? You're not going to have to worry about the running game if Cooper Beebe's doing that in the regular season. Let's see if I can find another one for you here. Here we go, here's another one. Another clip for you. Cooper Beebe right there in the middle. Let's see it. Cracking down, putting another dude in the dirt. Put him in the dirt. Little assist. Coming for you. Good snap. Jet sweep the other direction. Snap the ball, jet sweep. Hello. Absolutely nasty. Just a nasty guy. We needed this nastiness badly. Needed it badly. There's another play. Good eyes. Just again, find somebody, put them on their ass. Get the snap off. Pass him off to the guard. Crack down. Put him on his ass. Nasty. You're not going to be able to play against the Dallas Cowboys on the interior or anywhere on the defensive line without keeping your head on a swivel for 5'6" to come ear-hole your ass into the ground. 5'6" is ear-holing your ass into the ground whether you like it or not, and then he's going to do it again, and then he's going to get on top of you, shove your face in the dirt, and let you know about it. He's going to do it again and again and again and again. And that's the missing piece to our run game. Not a running back, not Derrick Henry, not one of these free agents, not a first-round draft pick, none of that. The biggest missing piece to our running game is a nasty center doing that type of stuff. And some of those were pass plays, but he's going to be a mauler in the run game, man. Cooper Beebe might immediately be the best center in the NFC East. So, Cowboys adding pieces, filling holes, filling needs. They're hitting on rookie offensive linemen once again. They're showing you that they just know how to scout offensive linemen. They know how to draft them. They know how to develop them. And really are primed to defend their division crown. Let's move on to the Eagles. I saw something that really just gave me a chuckle yesterday. Let me pull it up for you. This is the tweet. News, MLL football. My biggest enemy on Twitter is this football account right here. This fucking AI-generated account. I hope it's AI. I hope it's AI and that is not a grown man behind that account because it is an embarrassing account. But it tweets out basically all this account does. And if you know, if you're on Twitter, if you're on football Twitter, you know there's like 4 of these accounts, and they just cut and paste stuff that's reported from all the beat reporters around the NFL, and they post it on theirs, and they create the illusion that they're breaking news all the time. I don't really know what they get out of this, if they get paid from Twitter or what, but it drives me up a fucking wall. I digress. Brandon Graham had comments about Jalen Hurts, new and improved view on life, he said, which I don't really know what the fuck that means and how that translates to winning games. But Brandon Graham, wishful thinking, probably going into the last year of his career. He seems to think it matters. He says he was probably dealing with some stuff last year, but you can tell that he got a new and improved view on life this year. And I'm excited for him because you can tell that he's excited. I don't really know what that means, and I don't know how that translates, but regardless of what he was going through last year, I know what I saw last year, and here's the splits. 3,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 60.1 QBR. I've already gone through this on multiple podcasts. You know what I think of Jalen Hurts. I think he's a bag of ass compared to where he is ranked amongst his peers in the NFL and others. And I know y'all are going to say, oh, the football players know best. The football players aren't watching Jalen Hurts. His number 15 ranking in the top 100 players is the most cockamamie thing and should retire that ranking system the moment that happened. That's the most cockamamie shit I've heard all day long. How is he the 15th best player when he wasn't even the 15th best quarterback a year ago? That blows my mind. And then you always want to throw out the rushing graphics of what he is as a rusher and this, that, and the other. His rushing touchdowns and the records he's breaking. He's a QB sneak merchant. Jalen Hurts averaged 3.9 yards a carry last year. I know sacks come into play with that, but he had 157 carries, 3.9 a carry, 15 touchdowns. His long all year long was 24 yards. He's a QB sneak merchant, all right? He ain't Cam Newton as a runner. He ain't Mike Vick. He ain't Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of people that can run better than Jalen Hurts. He is an average running back, all right? He's more of an average running back than he is a great quarterback. Let's not forget the 65.4 completion percentage and the 15 interceptions last year. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that he had the 12th best QBR in the NFL. All right, and the absolute disaster to end the season. Okay, San Francisco, he had a 57.8% completion percentage against San Francisco. We all talk about Dak Prescott and his problems with San Fran. Jalen Hurts looked like he didn't belong in the NFL when he played San Fran either. All right. 23 for 37 versus Tampa Bay, 62.2% completion percentage, 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. Trash. Trash against good defenses. So, cool. He has a good new and improved view on life. Does he have a new view on linebackers and safeties? Can he see those better than he saw them a year ago? Can he see linebackers and safeties better than he saw them last year? Because it seemed like he just didn't even see that they were on the field a few times last year. It seems like Jalen Hurts cannot push the ball down the field unless he has man coverage, and that goes back to going to Alabama. And that's what I've been saying about him every single year he's been in the league. He cannot push the ball down the field. If you take away the running threat, if you have a good defense, you will do that. You can get out of man coverage. You can play more zone stuff, and you don't got to worry about the zone read. If you can stop their running game, he is in trouble. He can't push the ball down the field. He bails from his plays way too quickly. He leaves the pocket. He'll just put the ball up in the air for A.J. Brown or somebody to bail him out. Oftentimes they have, and he gets the credit for it, right? I don't give a shit about his corny-ass one-liners. I don't care about his swag, his drip. I don't care about any of that. I think he's a bad quarterback. I think he'll be, at best, the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC East because the guy in Washington's going to pass him up very quickly. Let's look at his game log. Let's see. Voice just cracked. That's cool. Against San Fran, like I said, 26 of 45, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, 57.8% completion percentage. The sticking point, you know how many yards he had rushing? Was he a threat rushing against San Francisco? 7 carries, 20 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. Against Dallas, 18 for 2,797 passing yards. That ain't elite. That ain't the 15th best player in the NFL. Doesn't sound like that to me. Doesn't sound like it to me. 66.7% completion percentage, nothing to write home about. Wasn't throwing the ball down the field. Was he a threat? Was he a threat in the running game, though? You may ask. But how many rushing yards did he have, Shonee? 5 carries, 30 yards, no touchdowns. All right. Awful. In his last 6 regular season games, it went loss, 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 win, loss, loss. In those games as a rusher, since he is such a threat in the rushing game to so many of you, and that's why you blatantly ignore his below average and subpar passing statistics and his below average and subpar passing in games that matter against playoff qualifiers and good defenses in this league. We throw that out of the window because he has all these rushing touchdowns and rushing stats, right? Well, let's talk about those last 6-7 games that he had. 20 rushing yards against San Fran, 30 rushing yards against Dallas, no touchdowns in either game. He had a good game rushing against Seattle, 13 carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he went 17 for 31, 143 yards, and 54.8% completion percentage with 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in that game. So they lost. Against the Giants, he had a much better game passing, 301 with 1 touchdown, 8 rushes, 34 yards, and 1 touchdown. The Giants are terrible, terrible defense, terrible football team. I think that stays this year. And then he goes and he loses to the Arizona Cardinals. Cowboys lost to the Cardinals as well, but he had 167 passing yards, 18 for 23, so the completion percentage was 78.3%. But what did I say? He's scared to push the ball down the field. He was scared to push the ball down the field a year ago. And quite frankly, the Philadelphia Eagles and Brian Johnson, for good reason, seem to be scared to allow him to push the ball down the field. Every 3rd and long situation the Eagles got into last year, pull up the tape, I'd say at least 70% of them, they ran a QB draw or some type of QB run game. And I was screaming my head off for the first 5-6 games of the year when the bullshit was working, and you knew he was not going to push the ball down the field in a 3rd and long situation because they're terrified he's going to give it away. Right? So the Cardinals game, he has 18 for 23, but he's averaging 7.3 yards per completion. He does not push the ball down the field. Giants game, the last regular season game, he didn't really play. And then in the playoff game, 25 of 35, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception, 7.1 yards per completion. Just very average, not pushing the ball down the field. How much did he rush for in that game, you ask? 1 carry, 5 yards. Stop with the Jalen Hurts elite running threat. He's not. Stop the touchdown graphics when you know they're all on QB sneaks or inside the 5-yard line. His long last year was 24 yards. It's the longest rush that he had. I'm glad that you guys think he has good one-liners. I'm glad that he has corny press conferences and that he looks cool in his tunnel walkthrough before the stadium. It's all cool. It's all cool. I understand the middle schoolers think he's cool and they like him. I don't think he's a good quarterback, whether he's playing for the Eagles or the Jacksonville Jaguars. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit. And I want you to tell me in the comments on Twitter or wherever why you think Jalen Hurts is going to do better with Kellen Moore than the last 2 quarterbacks did with Kellen Moore. Why is Jalen Hurts better than the last 2 guys, Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert? Why do you think he, who just lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his last 7 games and played poorly in all 7 of them, why do you think that all of a sudden Kellen Moore, who seemed like he hurt the last 2 quarterbacks more than he helped the last 2 quarterbacks that he was able to coach, is going to help and assist Jalen Hurts to get over that? I'd really like to know. Let's move on to Washington.
Curse words.
Gosh dang it, the Canelo stuff keeps pulling up. Let's move on to Washington. I had some stuff pulled up at Jayden Daniels, and I think I accidentally... Or no, I bookmarked it. Let me pull that up. Jayden Daniels is going to cause problems for teams this year. All right? And I don't say that like I like saying that, but he's going to cause a lot of problems for teams this year. Let's take a look.
Spread it out on 3rd down. Daniels pulls the trigger, looking for the deep ball down the sideline, and it's hauled in. De'Ami Brown, great snag for the 1st down.
Brings to this LSU, yeah, dynamic passer, but when you got an Eckler and a combination there, nice job by the receiver clipping the slot defender there, Jalen Key. You see the tight ends coming off. They were able to really lock the edge.
Those are two highlights from his first preseason game. Reports have also come out since then that he went crazy in the scrimmage against the Dolphins. It says he went nuts in red zone drills. He threw 5 touchdowns, and 2 of those touchdowns were to Terry McLaurin, one of them beating Kendall Fuller. He's hitting his form. The dude is cooler than a mitt. He is so freaking fast and elusive that in the modern game, and if you watched him at LSU, he was really a cheat code at times because his ability to also make great decisions in the passing game. He throws such a pretty catchable football and makes good decisions, puts the ball where it needs to be. He's a good passer. You've seen a lot of Robert Griffin III comparisons. It's going to look a lot like that, I think. I think he's got a great chance to win the Rookie of the Year. This year, he's got a lot of weapons in Washington, and with his athleticism and his ability to move around and avoid contact, the one thing he's going to do a lot better than RG3, not only because times are different and the quarterback's protected even more so now than they were then, because he has a great ability of avoiding contact and getting down when he needs to, right? So I think he's going to do that, but it's also the Washington Redskins, the Commies, formerly the Redskins, they have offensive line problems, but his athleticism is going to help aid and cover up some of those offensive line issues with his ability to not only take off, but buy time in the pocket and get elite receivers and weapons like Terry McLaurin, the ability to get open, right? Let me try to pull up Washington's schedule. Commie schedule. Here we go. Commies. Dan Quinn, year 1. Now, the thing about the Commies is Dan Quinn inherited a very good interior defensive line and overall defensive line, right? Dan Quinn is going to make the secondary better, although he is originally in his position of choice or his position of expertise is along the defensive line. He always has a good secondary. Going to run a lot of cover 3, going to do the Dan Quinn special, do what he's done since Seattle, do what his bread and butter is. That ain't going to change, cover 3, cover 1, right? Now, is his front-running defense still going to be the kryptonite to what holds his teams back, right? And then also, as a head coach, does his defense end up suffering again the way that it suffered when he was in Atlanta as a head coach? Those are the questions that Commies fans got to ask themselves. Those are the questions I ask the Commies of their ability to not only challenge the Cowboys for the NFC East, but potentially win it. Will that be the thing that stops them from doing it? Because hate to tell you guys, I've noticed he's still going undersized on linebackers, right? And if Jonathan Allen and these guys on the interior don't stop the run themselves, and there's going to be games where they're absolutely able to do that, but in the games where they're not, say the Dallas Cowboys, when you got 2 all-pro guards that can handle Jonathan Allen, and a center in Cooper Beebe, who I think can handle Jonathan Allen, and whoever else is on the interior in Washington, we might run the ball up Washington's ass. The way Green Bay did to Dallas, the way San Fran always did to Dallas, the way every team did to Dallas when Dallas fell into those games where we got blown out and it felt like we could never get a stop. The Green Bay game, we got really one single stop the entire game. We stopped them from scoring points. One single time. After the second drive of the game, I looked over to my dad and whoever else I was watching the game with and said, we're not getting a stop again all day. This game's over. That was prior to Dak trying to throw 15 interceptions. Right, so that's the question in Washington. Can they stop the run when they play playoff qualifying teams or playoff teams or in the playoffs, right? And if they can't, can Jayden Daniels and that offense overcome it enough? Let's look at their schedule. They open up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that they are going to go to Tampa, beat Baker Mayfield. I think that's the game. And here's the thing. One thing that Washington's going to do, which will mask and keep them in the top 10 of the NFC in defense or the NFL in defense, even if they do have those same run game issues or they're playing linebackers at safeties for whatever reason. Dan Quinn likes to play 220-pound guys at linebacker. You know what I mean? Sorry, I said that ass backwards. Safeties at linebacker. If they're doing shit like that, where you will mask it is if Jayden Daniels and that offense are able to come out, get off to a hot start, give you a 14-point lead because it's a front-running defense. If Dan Quinn can use that defensive line and his aggression of getting after the quarterback, he rushes the passer to stop the run, right? That is his style. I hate it. It's the opposite of what Mike Zimmer does. Rushes the passer to stop the run. But on the flip side, if you are in the lead and the team isn't running the ball and they're trying to play catch-up, that's what creates these 4 or 5 turnover games and these blowouts that you've seen the Cowboys have the last few years. That will create that in Washington if they're able to get out into a lead. So I think Washington is going to hit the ground running, and the hype train of Jayden Daniels is going to be off the tracks, man. Like, because they're going to come out. I think they can jump on Tampa Bay. They are going to stomp New York, and I predict that they go to Cincinnati and Arizona and beat them. Washington can start this season 4-0. All right? This is subject to change. I can change. This is the SJ show. I can change this by tomorrow's episode if I want to. But as of right now, I predict them 4-0 start, at least 3-1. And at the very least, through 5 weeks, this is going to be a 3-2 football team. Now, week 5, that could be a kryptonite game. You got Myles Garrett and an elite defense with Jock and other guys like that. Cleveland is going to be a very good defense. You got them at home, but that ain't no home field advantage in FedEx, that sorry-ass stadium, maybe the worst in the NFL. I mean, fix your sewage system. Stop pouring shit water on your fans. You've done enough. Guys, let me pull this. My poor grandpa and my cousin Jaden, they're Washington Commies fans, formerly Redskins fans. And I, at this point, just feel bad for the guys. What's the classic Rocky situation where, you know, he wants to throw the damn towel and he's like, fight back! Fight back! Washington, I just want them to fight back at this point. They're just beating them to a pummeling for the last 10 years. Since RG3 blew his knee to absolute smithereens, these poor fans, they are so loyal to that sorry-ass dump of a franchise that they have. And they had the worst owner in the league this entire time for 20 years, and they've stayed so loyal to them. You know, us Cowboys fans get a lot of credit, as we should, for our loyalty and our commitment to Super Bowl championships year in, year out. But we've been making playoffs and winning this division, right? Like, we've had very competitive teams over the course of the last 15, 20 years. The Cowboys haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since 2003, and people forget that shit, right? The Cowboys, for as bad and as incompetent as our organization is, haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since 03. Redskins have lost a lot, or Commies, whatever. They all want to be called the Redskins. Call a spade, the elephant in the room. I don't care. This is the SJ show. We're going to be all right. Can't cancel anybody who doesn't give a shit about being canceled. And also, I'm Native American myself. My name is literally Native American. Whatever. Let's move on. The Commies. Commies have had a lot of seasoning. It was just tragic, humiliating seasons. And I'm talking like, these poor people, they get into week 3 and the season's over, right? Last year, even like week 5, they had like 5 straight losses where they should have won 4 of them. And it's just always embarrassing for them. So they deserve a little jolt, and I think they're going to get it and start off really, really hot. They're going to run into some problems with the Browns in Baltimore, right? They might lose both of those games. They should be happy with splitting them. You get the Browns at home. Hopefully you're not dumping shit water. Oh, yeah, that was the last point. The Washington fans have gone through all of that humility and embarrassment and just loss after loss after loss, QB after QB. They thought they got one in RG3, blows his knee to smithereens at the end of his rookie year. They get one in Kirk Cousins, the same draft. They fuck that up. He leaves, whatever. They can't find one after that. At the very least, stop pouring shit water on the fans in the middle of games that they're losing by 30 points. Christ, guys. Anyways, it'd be cool if they're able to split between the Browns and Baltimore. So you're sitting here around 4 or 5 wins, 5-6 wins at this time at the midway point. You go into week 7, you should be better than the Panthers. You can beat them. The Bears, this could be a rookie of the year type battle. The number 1 versus number 2 pick, Caleb Williams versus Jalen Daniels. What an electric game that can be. Winnable, also losable. Got to sweep the Giants. The key to winning this division, you can't lose one against the Giants. They are trash. Pittsburgh, that'll be a tricky game. Let's see who's starting in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to have a good defense, man, and they're going to be a solid football team. How good are they offensively? Can they threaten you? We'll see. Can their offensive line hold up? Talk about a sorry-ass offensive line. Pittsburgh's got a sorry-ass offensive line. That's a game that Washington, as I said, front-running Dan Quinn. And I'm not just trying to take jabs at Dan Quinn. I like the guy. But front-runner, so if you get up with a lead on Pittsburgh, this is a game where Washington can blow their ass out. Philly, you need to split with Philly and Dallas. You can split. Washington can sweep Philly. I've been clear. Let me go back to the one-person view on this. Clear as day. Nick Sirianni's going to get fired. Kellen Moore's going to get fired for the 3rd straight year. And Philly fans, if they have any logic, will turn on Jalen Hurts before the season ends. I've predicted, and I'm going to stand on it. I put my legacy as a man on the line. Clip it, do what you want. Put my legacy on a man. I will get a vasectomy. You heard it here first. It is August 15th. If Philly wins the division this year, I will get a vasectomy. I don't deserve to have kids. I don't even deserve to talk about football. I don't deserve to have children and reproduce. I will get a vasectomy if the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl this year. I think a meltdown will happen in Philly. So Washington can sweep Philly. And then you got to split with Dallas, right? I think that, and I don't want you to. This isn't what I'm saying is going to happen. But if Washington's going to make the run towards the division in the playoffs, you got to split with us. You got to sweep the Giants and at least split with Philly, but potentially sweep Philly. And they got really a favorable schedule. You know what I mean? The Cowboys got the first place schedule. Toughest games on the schedule is going to be early, non-division wise. Going to be early. You get Dallas week 12. Is that Thanksgiving? Yeah, Thanksgiving game? Or no, Dallas plays New York on Thanksgiving, I think. I don't know. Dallas week 12 at home, that looks like. And then you finish the year in Dallas, right? And that could be for the division. Maybe Dallas has it locked up at that point. That's week 18. That could be for the division. But can beat Tennessee, can beat New Orleans for sure, can beat Atlanta. So I'm looking at the schedule, and there's a lot of games where I'm like, Washington is just better than these teams. Let's count them. New York, there's 2 of them, so that's 2. Arizona, there's 3. Carolina, there's 4. Pittsburgh, I think, is a very favorable matchup for Washington, so there's 5. I think you at least take 1 from Philly, there's 6. Tennessee, there's 7. New Orleans for sure, there's 8. And Atlanta, 9. So 7 to 9 games where I think are better than toss-up odds for you guys. Like, I think for sure 4.5-point favorites are better going into 7 or 9 games for the Washington Commies. And you're going to have an electric quarterback that if he stays healthy with the weapons that he has and some of the playmakers you got defensively that'll play well in this system, you got the signing of Dorrance Armstrong, who can have a true breakout year in Washington, rushing the passer this year with more opportunity, not dealing with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. You know, he's going to be a guy there in Washington. They gave him starter money, obviously. Excitement. You should be excited as a Washington Commies fan where the last 5 years I wouldn't have said this in the offseason, right? So, running through the schedule, I think, I said 7 to 9 games that you should be favored in. You add the toss-up games, say you split those. This is a 10-11 win team. 10 to 12 wins for the Washington Commies in a rookie season would be very, very exciting. At worst case scenario, 8-9, 9-8. At the very worst case scenario, in my opinion, and that's unless your quarterback gets hurt. Your quarterback gets hurt, all bets are off. Y'all are going to suck again. That's the Washington Commies breakdown. Let's move on. Giants are trash. Not going to talk about them. There's nothing to talk about. What do you want me to say about the Giants? You've been watching Hard Knocks. What do you want me to say? What is there to say about the Giants? I'll do a schedule run through. Let's do a schedule run through. That'll be my Giants preseason preview. Preseason games. Open up season. Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have a quarterback. Giants should beat Minnesota. Go to Washington. Just said you're going to lose. Just said you're going to get swept by Washington. Going to lose at the Browns. Going to get swept by Dallas. I've just already counted 6 losses for you. Seattle, that's winnable. The Bengals, I've never really. The Bengals go as far as Joe Burrow can take them. So we'll see. The Eagles, let's see if you can split with the Eagles again. Pittsburgh, winnable. Commies, think you get swept. Carolina, winnable. I think you're at 4 winnable games in my eyes. Tampa Bay, winnable. New Orleans, winnable. Falcons, Colts, winnable. And you can split with the Eagles. So the Giants, best case, Giants 8-9. Best case. Worst case, they're sitting in the top 5 of the NFL draft again. And need to figure out the quarterback situation, which I don't think the Giants are terrified of worst case. I think they got a long leash on Brian Dable, and it's really not his fault that they can't draft good players for him and make bad contract signings and are scared and timid and don't really know what they're doing. It seems like it's not his fault. And you know what? I was told my whole life just how good of an organization the Maras run. Sorry, let me pause this. I'm about to play it for you guys. But I was told my entire life how great of an organization they run, and they're just grade A professionals, Well, ever since Eli Manning, that debacle happened and he walked out of the building ungracefully, ungracefully, because y'all let that dork of a coach that you guys hired, McDade, whatever his name was, that was dog shit. You let him just completely humiliate the greatest quarterback in your franchise history, Eli Manning, to end his career, ruin his starter streak for no reason at all. Remember all that? Ever since that happened, the Giants have been one of the worst run franchises in the NFL. But I digress. That's the NFC East conversation for today. Let's move on. Let's talk about some other shit. Let's talk about Canelo Alvarez and close this pupper out. Canelo Alvarez has learned a lot more English, and it's exactly what this world needed and what the boxing world needed. Take a listen for yourself.
Fucking problems.
Huh?
Many problems.
You're gonna have problems.
You have so many problems, man. You will see. You're gonna feel so much pain.
You're gonna feel pain.
You're gonna feel pain.
You're gonna feel this.
A lot. You feel like my son. You will see.
You
You will see. You will see.
I'm gonna break your nose.
You will see.
I'm gonna break
You
your
will
nose.
see.
Zone.com. All right, let's turn things back.
Stop.
Hello. Take it easy. I'm gonna take care of him for you. I promise you. That's for you, buddy. You think I'm more like you than Floyd Mayweather, than Miguel Cotto, than Lara, than come on, bro. I'm gonna let you 8 rounds, just 8 rounds.
Okay.
You're gonna feel pain.
Okay.
8 rounds.
I'm gonna break everything
From
in your
there,
face. I'm gonna break everything in your face.
you finish.
You're gonna see in my eyes?
Fear.
Never.
What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated?
These kind of motherfuckers.
These kind of motherfuckers.
I don't know that much English, but that kind of words I fucking enjoy so much.
When I talk, shut up.
I don't wanna
When I
shut
talk,
up.
shut up.
I don't wanna shut up.
When I talk, shut up. When
I
I
don't
talk,
wanna
shut
shut
up.
up.
Canelo.
When I talk, shut up.
And what?
When I talk,
And then
shut
what?
up.
What are you gonna do?
And then
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
No.
I don't wanna fuck you up right now because the money is gone.
Independence Day weekend, Canelo Promotions.
these guys,
You
bro.
think I'm scared of
These
you?
These guys, bro.
You need 20 like you.
Nah.
¿Ah? Te voy a dar la
Sí, yo
putiza de tu
sé,
vida.
yo sé,
La putiza
sí.
de tu vida.
Sí, yo sé. Sí.
Pam, pam, pam.
Tú vas a mamar el bicho. Tú vas a mamar el bicho. Don't touch me. Cabrón. Cabrón. Y tú
We call that charisma, people. We call that charisma. There's another clip for you I want to show real quick. These motherfucking words, these fucking shits I love so much. That's just hilarious.
At the first
There's
word,
nobody that cusses better than somebody that barely speaks English, and clearly the first, all of the words they learned before any other words were just curse words, because that's the case with Canelo, right? And here's another example.
what you learned was fuck, bitch, shit, and you say them well.
Yeah.
Even right now. You're like, oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucker, son of a bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, you fucking kidding me, motherfucker, dumb bitch.
I love it. So this is what I want to do. I want to do cursing with Canelo, man. What was your favorite motherfucking fight?
I have a lot, but my favorite
You have a lot of what? Oh, go ahead.
A lot of shit.
A lot of shit. You have a lot of great fucking fights.
A lot of great fucking fights.
Yes,
So my
man.
great fucking fight, one of my great fucking fight with Miguel Angel Cotto.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was a great fucking fight.
yeah,
I heard that.
Great
What
fucking
you
fight.
fucking have for breakfast today?
yeah. I fucking need a shake.
Ooh, a motherfucking shake.
Yeah.
Vanilla or motherfucking chocolate? Strawberry?
Banana.
Motherfucking- Oh, I love motherfucking banana too.
Motherfucking banana.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. What's your favorite curse word? What is your favorite curse word?
Oh, Jesus. That's what the world needed. The world needed Canelo to touch up on his English and be able to cuss in English the way he does in Spanish. And motherfucking Canelo Alvarez, I will fuck you up, motherfucker. I love that guy. That's the best boxer in the world. It's my favorite boxer, probably ever, of all time. Half Mexican, only the good half, of course. Greatest Mexican in the history of time. Saul Canelo Alvarez. And mind you, Dallas Cowboys fan, of course. right? Dallas Cowboys fan and now a scratch golfer. Canelo is the shit, dude. And if you're not appreciating every second of Canelo motherfucking Alvarez, then dude, kiss my ass and go watch another program. That guy should be number one pound for pound boxer in the world till this day. And if he's not number one pound for pound boxer, the next time this list comes out, then do away with the list. Because if you have any intelligence whatsoever as a boxing promoter in the boxing industry whatsoever, you understand you ride his coattail till the wheels fall off. Because that is the superstar in boxing, truly, really the only one. And there's a lot of great boxers right now and people on their way to superstardom. Gervonta Tank Davis is going to be an absolutely massive superstar. It is really already becoming that, maybe that in a lot of people's eyes. But the charisma and the lovable like nature of that shit right there, of Canelo Alvarez cussing, the charisma in the press conference, the confidence, the aura, he's speaking nothing but English now. What a brilliant guy, dude. And talk about being rich and making more money to never cry sad tears again. Canelo Alvarez has more money than anybody would know what to do with, and I love it. And he wears it literally and figuratively in his aura. There ain't no more aura than a cussing Canelo Alvarez. Cussing Canelo is going to save America, potentially. And I know he's Mexican, but we need a Mexican, not a Mexicant, to come in and fix the social issues in our country. And if there's one that's going to do it, it is Saul Canelo Alvarez, Dallas Cowboys fan, best boxer in the world. Today was fun. Thanks for watching the Shonee Jackson Show. Sorry, it's going a little bit too fast there. Had a lot of fun today. Thanks. This is episode 13. I'm going to see you again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central Time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Bookmark it. Get used to it. Love you guys more than you know, not as much as you think. God bless. Have a good day.